Hey everyone, my name is Fatima Mazumder. I'm a hardworking and dedicated rising sophomore at Hunter College where I hope to pursue a career in medicine. My interest in the pre-health track peaked after I visited a hospital in Bangladesh where I noticed the stark difference between developing nations and developed countries. I also participated in numerous walkouts and protests regarding social and environmental issues. I also love cooking and learning about different cultures and spending time with my friends and family. And today I'm here on behalf of the Teen Pop magazine. The Teen Pop magazine is the first online magazine for high schoolers that gives young, aspiring journalists the opportunity to share their voice, build a writing portfolio, and receive peer feedback and mentorship in the editorial industry. In addition to contributing and submitting content, their writers can connect with each other, share ideas, and help each other improve. If you would like to write for them, drop an email at uplanner0@gmail.com. And today I present to you an independent and strong-minded young man combating COVID-19 in Palestinian refugee communities. Yousef Abou Areda is a sophomore at Columbia University studying psychology in the pre-med track. His parents left Imam El Shafi, one of the poorest villages in Cairo, Egypt, in search of a better education for their children. After losing his grandmother in 2018 to a treatable infection that doctors failed to treat in Egypt, Yousef quickly saw the disparities in healthcare between the US and developing countries. In his spare time, Yousef enjoys watching and playing soccer, reading, and creating short films. Hey Yousef, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you for asking.
Alright, to begin, I'd like to ask you, why did you start Raise4Refugees, a campaign focusing on the struggles of Palestinian refugees in their battle against COVID-19?
I knew that refugees in particular would be vulnerable to the effects of COVID-19. Many of them don't have access to hospitals for thousands of miles. I'd raised money for a cancer hospital in Egypt this year, as well as sending medical supplies to Sudan, so I already have some experience with fundraising. Growing up in an Egyptian household, Palestine was always the topic of discussion and a cause that's always been dear to my heart, so I knew that I had to do something to help them in their time of need.
Wow, you're such an active member in your community. I guess now my next question is, what social media platforms have been successful in raising awareness for this social issue?
We've been using Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, although most of our traction has come on Instagram. At the heart of this campaign lies education and dialogue, as it's impossible to run a campaign helping Palestine without focusing on how much Palestinians have suffered throughout history. My team and I have made posts outlining the connection between the Black Lives Matter movement and the fight for Palestinian liberation, as well as highlighting the healthcare inequalities that Palestinians face. We hope that our campaign encourages people to educate themselves on this topic, as well as having difficult conversations with their family and friends on how to be better advocates for Palestine.
So social media has been very imperative and influential in being able to connect individuals together to address this issue. So how has your team also helped shed light on this issue that you're working on and be able to help you gain this audience?
My team has been a central component of this campaign. It was important for us to bring in Jewish and Muslim voices because we want to show people that we can work together on issues affecting Palestine. Through our diversity, we hope to show that we want a brighter and more positive future for all parties that are involved.
That's amazing. A hardworking and dedicated team is definitely necessary. So has there been an individual who has been greatly impacted by the work you and your team have been doing?
I expected some backlash from the pro-Israeli community, as this campaign has been critical of the actions of the Israeli government. I received messages from multiple people telling me that Palestinians are treated no differently than their Israeli counterparts and that they both share equal rights. Because the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is not covered in the U.S. social studies curriculum, it's important that we remain calm when we receive these sort of messages and keep in mind that not everybody has had the same exposure to this topic as we may have had. In regards to changing individual lives, I've shared podcasts and documentaries that people can watch. And while many of us still don't see eye to eye on this issue, I would say that the majority of people can now admit that Palestinians and Israelis definitely are treated differently, and that there needs to be a lot of work moving forward to change that.
So choosing to focus on this issue might have resulted in differing opinions from the public. How have the youth reacted to your campaign?
It's been a mixed reaction. I was shocked to receive messages from the Gen Z community accusing me of supporting Hamas, with no sort of evidence to support that kind of accusation. This is a struggle for every Arab American, as any work that we engage in, even for things like COVID relief, are still associated with violence. One of the main factors that pushed me to take on this project was the fact that all Muslims are required to spread peace around the world, and I hope our work shows that Islam has and always will be a religion of peace.
So this campaign has received a lot of support from the Black community. Why do you think that is?
Well, the Black Lives Matter movement and the fight for Palestinian liberation differ in many ways, there are still many similarities. When police officers were throwing tear gas at the protesters, we saw many tweets coming from Palestinians advising black people on how to protect themselves from the tear gas. In addition, people try to limit both movements using similar tactics. People categorize the protesters and looters together to create a false image that the Black Lives Matter movement is a violent one. My experience with this campaign shows that any work being conducted to the benefit of Palestinians is automatically associated with violence and terrorism.
So on your Instagram page, you've conducted various interviews with phenomenal activists like Miko Paulette and Amer Zar. How have the topics discussed in these interviews helped spread knowledge and raise public awareness?
Both men are very knowledgeable on this topic and have spent their entire lives advocating for Palestinians. I admire their work a lot on a personal level, and I think that they're two people that we should definitely be looking up to when trying to be better advocates for Palestine.
What are some of the upcoming goals of your campaign? Where do you see this campaign in the future?
The campaign's goal is to continue raising money and educating people on this topic. If we want to see serious changes in the future, we have to start by educating ourselves. In terms of the future goals of our campaign, I hope that we can show young people that while making a difference in the world is difficult, it can be done through hard work and positivity.
You have given us such amazing goals that this campaign has. How can the public audience support this cause?
There's many ways that you can help out. By donating to our campaign, you are directly helping us send food packages to families in need, distribute hygiene kits, as well as build sanitation and water facilities for families in need. All of our proceeds will, of course, be going to Islamic Relief USA. Having conversations with families and friends is also really important. When people see that you care about an issue, it inspires them to take action as well. Lastly, I encourage every young person to utilize their resources and voice to work on issues that they feel passionate about.
Thank you for such informative and detailed responses regarding the goals of your campaign.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
If you would like to know more about Yousef and Raise4Refugees, stay tuned with the Teen Pop magazine.